Excess infiltration, inflow that you may have. You have a combined sewer system, so obviously you've got inflow and infiltration. Facilities for removing those combined sewers and eliminating those and separating the sewers, and eventually someday maybe eliminating those overflows and eliminating that need to put up signs on the beach, no swim because of bacteria, etc. That's the ultimate goal, and we know that there's not enough money to do it all in a short period of time, but as we're going to talk about having a plan, and the mayor talked about it, Greg talked about it, the plan would be, and I like to refer to it as a roadmap. We're at point A right now, and here we have to get to point B, and here's how we get to that particular point. And I'll share with you a little bit more details about that as we go through this. There is EPA has a wonderful web page, and don't hesitate to go to the web page. You can find out some additional information about this particular program. The next page is really important for you as council members because this lists all the different funding or funds that are available for you for infrastructure improvements, whether it's water or sanitary sewer related. And we do this internally in our office, and we update this every quarter because interest rates do indeed change. And what I want to point out here is how important this program is, Ohio EPA's Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, is because when you look at OWDA on top, you can see the market rate right now for doing our projects about 3.9% interest. What we're able to do with a nomination, I'll talk about here in a little bit, that we submitted on behalf of the city in the fall of last year, we're able to secure a hardship loan at 1% through this particular program. So you can begin to see how that benefits the community. I know it's not 0% interest, I know it's not grants at this particular point, but it's a good base for funding a project or projects when you know at least at a minimum the amount that you're going to have to borrow, you can borrow that at 1% interest. So again, this is a very good informational sheet for you in terms of a reference for future projects as we begin to talk about both water and sewer. The next page then is actually the schedule that we had submitted. And I'll talk a little bit about the submittal in a minute, but this schedule is important because we have a calendar year for January 1st till December 1st of this year to get ourselves in a position to be able to secure the loan either for planning or design. And we've had to revise the schedule from the original submittal, and it's due to the fact that EPA was a little bit behind schedule on actually getting the intended use plan out so we knew who was going to get funded. And again, so it's kind of put everybody behind schedule. So we want to talk about the planning effort and trying to secure some monies for you through a loan in order to be able to do this comprehensive infrastructure study that, again, we'll share with you here in a bit. So this is the schedule that will be revised. It hasn't been revised, but will be submitted with your approval. And EPA actually had texted us today or emailed me and wanting to know where you were, whether you're going to secure this money and move forward with a particular project. The next part of the handout then is actually the ranking sheet, and it shows where you're at. There's two projects that we nominated the community for. One is for the planning effort, doing the comprehensive plan. And you can see that we actually nominated that for a $50,000 loan. And the next part of that project was a design, not knowing exactly what we're going to design at this particular point. But again, we wanted to get something to them. Think about it, it's kind of like appropriating money. We have money now appropriated to Ohio EPA. Whether you use it or not, that's okay, and that's a decision that you'll make. But it's there for you. So if we can move forward and meet these schedules and milestones that we have to, this money's there available for you if indeed you elect to use it. And again, we're going to come back probably later this year and talk about doing another nomination for you, with your permission, for construction. Because that's where we really want to get. We want to get to the point where we can start using that 1% money for substantial construction projects as you go through replacing the streets, replacing water lines, replacing sewer lines, separating those storm and sanitary sewers, etc. So that basically just to give you an idea of how that ranked. And it says hardship, and the one next to hardship basically indicates that it's 1% interest that you're going to secure. The very last page of that particular handout explains to you a little bit more detail the difference between 0% and 1% hardship, and I'll share that with you here in the next handout. And you'll find that working with myself and Greg, you're going to probably get tired of us cutting down all these trees for all these copies we make, but obviously we're trying to keep you as informed as we possibly can in terms of not only the funding, but the actual work itself as we go through the sewer replacement, etc. So then the last, not the last, but the next handout basically shares with you the different interest rates and how the program works for a planning loan, design loan, and also for construction. It's important because we're not talking again about construction. I want everybody to be aware how it works. But if you go to the next to last page of that particular handout, you'll see there's a little chart right here that's a really important chart for us, and this is why at this particular point, based on the schedule that we had submitted, there's no point for us to rush into something and try to get something completed in a short period of time and not make sure that we're doing a good job. So the reason I bring that up is because this benchmark is important. And this is the benchmark that allows you to qualify for that 1% money. I can't guarantee that you'll get 1% next year for construction, but again, for our understanding and our experience with the program, it certainly should be available to you. And here's the reason why. Is because the reason you didn't get 0% is because obviously your community is larger than 2,500 population. If it was a smaller community based on your median household income, you would have received 0%. But based on the fact that you are a city, and based on the fact that you are under 44,425, that's the benchmark that's been established from Iowa EPA, you're going to qualify for 1%. Now that's based off of American Community Survey, which is noted down here in B. Now the good news is they've just updated their from 2009 to 2010, and it went up from 41,250 to 41,996, about $746 increase. So the good news is you're still going to fall easily within that range to qualify again for 1%. And typically what EPA will do is they'll adjust that because they realize that you've got a lot of work ahead of you in terms of trying to get these sewers separated. So again, that is just basically I wanted to get everybody an understanding of how the program works. There's some information here about paybacks. I won't bore you with those particular details at this particular time. So what's this guy really talking about? You know, why is he really here tonight? Why I'm really here is to talk about the scope of service and what we're proposing to do to secure that planning money so we can develop this infrastructure capital improvement plan. I'm not going to bore you with these particular details, but again, I've made a copy for each of you so you can look through it. And this is the service that we're proposing to provide in order to be able to develop this general plan. Some folks don't like to call it studies. They call it preliminary engineering report, etc. But it would allow us to look at the work that you've done. You've done a very good job on your long-term control plan for sewer separations. You're in the downtown revitalization work. We know that you're in the process of securing some small city grants and loans for other infrastructure improvements. What we're proposing to do is take all that and tie it in together into one document that allows you then, now we're talking about that roadmap. Here's where we're at, and here's where we need to be, and it allows us then to be able to do that based on your input, help you develop where those priorities are in your particular community, help you figure out how we're going to fund it, and develop a phased program so we can continue to look at other revenue sources, other loans, and other grants. As Greg indicated, there's certainly other grants in there that we haven't even begun to talk about that we may be able to leverage, not every year, but again, the point would be is leverage somebody else's money so again, you can keep and maintain your rates as reasonably as you possibly can. So with that, I tried to cover that as quickly as I could. If there's any questions for us, we certainly would be more than glad to try to answer those tonight.
Anyone have any questions?
If I could, that would be the order that's before you, 18-13. We're not looking for a vote tonight. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. We make sure we invited Fogmeyer to come in, both Greg and Richard to come in and explain things for you. We're hoping that by the next council meeting, we'll be able to pass this because of the scheduling time of this. If you have any questions, we have no problem calling another council meeting. We'd love to get in the committee meeting, try to work with the infrastructure chair and try to have any meetings you need, any questions you need. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to come back to answer any questions so we can move forward.
If I could, folks, thank you very much for your time and consideration. We appreciate it.
No, that'll be it.
Auditor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I had the distinct pleasure of showing Miss Jamie Claire around the auditor's office and teach her a little bit about the auditor's duties. Hopefully I didn't bore her too much today. Because unfortunately it's not a very exciting topic. We talk about appropriations and budgets and that kind of stuff. But she's actually going to present my auditor's report tonight. That's okay. She's very nervous, by the way.
Thank you, Madam President. The April 2000 auditor reports were emailed to Council on May 2nd. Please let me know if you did not receive them or have any questions. That's it, Madam President. Thank you.
Treasurer's report.
Madam President, I had the pleasure of having Haley with me today. She's with Mr. Snyder tonight. But she was very interested in all the numbers and math things, so it was nice having her there.
Law Director's report.
Passed out two other pieces of legislation to you tonight. One is a resolution that deals with, I think it's House Bill 5, that was requested by Mr. Bugby and also by Mr. Coppola. And then there is an ordinance that deals with the warpage agreement for the Sassy South Charter Service for this year and next year. And I'll defer to the mayor as to the priority of that.
We've had conversation with the owners of Sassy Cell operation. They've actually been very forthcoming with their operations and the funds that they've been able to collect through their business. We were hoping to stabilize the rent and the dockage at $5,500 instead of continuously increasing it every year. Give them an opportunity to help support our local business and give them an opportunity to get on their feet. Those are the only real changes that you'll see in there. All the rest of the contract language is basically the same as what it's.
Did you need that passed this evening?
Excuse me, Madam
Did
President.
you need that passed this evening? Our Safety Service Director's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I too had a nice day with the government kids today. I had 4 kids that went around with me. We showed them all the different spots in the parks and cemeteries and everything else. And I think they had a good appreciation of what we do and what the guys go through as far as the mowing process. They couldn't believe all the places we have to mow. How do you mow between those headstones and things like that at the cemetery? So that was quite nice. Mr. Scapp, I'd like to thank you too because I know you put this together. He's done this for years, and him and Jen work very well together to mix and match everything, so I appreciate all your help with that. He's helping me this weekend. We got a couple cleanups that his kids can do for some extra credit, I believe it is.
Kind of required.
Kind of required. Well, I certainly appreciate it. They're going to clean up around the Waterworks for the Walleye Festival. They're going to go out through that on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to do a downtown cleanup. So any of you kids, if you have time to come up 9 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday this week, I'll be there to get you, and I'll make sure you get your name so you get the credit. Okay. Most of you have seen Al Street's open back up. They still have some restoration to do over there, but I think it's a nice road now. We had a little bit of rain the other day, and there was no puddles and stuff, so very happy with that. Asphalt was being poured today, the base coat on Maple Street. Weather permitting, it should be done by the weekend. If not, it'll for sure be done in the middle of next week, so that'll be open back up for the holiday weekend. I've had some of the kids, my seasonal guys, have been at the City Park working on some of the mulch and the flower beds for the ladies. I think that's turned out very well there. We put some grass seed in it. You'll see some caution tape around the shelter. Try to stay out of it so we can get the grass growing here. We talked about 6th Street. We'll start basically on the 20th. So next week you'll start seeing people on 6th Street. That is, again, from Fulton to just west of Jefferson. We'll probably be out surveying and doing some of that kind of stuff first, but the project is going to get going rather quickly. So everybody knows we'll have a detour down 4th Street. There'll be signs marking all that. You will have access, or that people on that road will have access to the house for the majority of the time. So we've worked well with the contractors, and I've been out with them and taken a look at everything. And that's all I have tonight, Madam President.
Thank you.
Madam President, if I may ask a question, Mr.
Sure.
Wilson? And I think you answered this question for me the other day, but the number one question I'm getting, and if you wouldn't mind explaining
You wanna know about
the
the
lawn mowing the lawn mowing process again and how that works.
Two things on the lawn mowing process. Number one is please do not blow the grass into the street. And the mayor can attest to this. Our Bernie Isaac at the sewer plant came to us when we had the rain the other day, and he had a mess over there with through his pumps and everything because the grass gets in the catch basins. Combined sewer system that we're working on trying to change. All that's going to the sewer plant and causes a lot of aggravation. Number two is I know you all see the high grass throughout town. Just the other day, I went around and had other people call in, email in. We have 18 weed notices that went out. Those will be due, I believe it is, tomorrow. So after tomorrow, I can start getting some of those done. If you see those, please call us. But there's 18 residences in town that have to have their grass cut. And it will be pretty pricey. Obviously, you guys know we've gone over this before with the man hours and everything else. So best thing I can say is please get your grass cut. Thank you.
Thank you.
A police chief's report.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Fire chief's report.
Nothing tonight, Madam President. Thank you.
Under correspondence, we have several items this evening. First, we have a request from the American Legion. We've done this every year. I will read it to you. It's a resolution. Whereas Port Clinton Post number 113, the American Legion is desirous of decorating graves, conducting memorial services, and otherwise engaging in activities appropriate to the celebration of Memorial Day, May 27, 2013. And whereas Section 307.66 2503 of the Ohio Revised Code provides that any municipality located within a township may cooperate with such townships or with the county in observing Memorial Day. And council therefore may make necessary appropriations. Therefore be it resolved that the request be made, and the same is hereby made to the board of the city and council of Port Clinton, that such appropriation to be determined by the Port Clinton City Council be made to this post for the purpose herein set forth. It was signed April 27th by the commander, David McDougall, and the adjutant, John Boyd. Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Madam President. I would be honored to make a motion allocating $500 to that group for their request.